Hi, my name is Godman Akinlabi. Thank you for joining me on the BetterHalf Relationship Podcast. This podcast is designed to strengthen marriages and relationships that will lead to marriage with God's wisdom. On this episode, I will be discussing fighting the surge of disposable marriages. I'm sure you're all familiar with disposable items: paper towels, disposable cups, disposable plates. The thing about disposable items is that they're not designed to last for a long time or to withstand any kind of pressure. So you use them and dump them. Sadly today, many marriages have become disposable in terms of their lacking the characteristics of durability. Disposable marriages have been rampant, with people simply vowing till divorce do us part rather than till death do us part. As a result, marriages have dissolved in months, in weeks, even in days. But the truth is that many people who find themselves in such disposable relationships probably didn't start out, with the intention of making it disposable. In fact, many people want the classic fairy tale, happily ever after. But over the time, certain attitudes, misconceptions, some kind of behaviors erode the fabric of their relationship, and it becomes good only for the dustbin of life. It's my desire to help you strengthen your marriage and make it highly non-disposable. I'm a firm believer that marriage ought to be sweet and enjoyable and to last forever. Why? Because God instituted it to be like that. That's God's original intention, is for it to last forever. And everything that God created, the Bible says, was good. So your marriage has to, your marriage has that inherent value of goodness and rightness within it. And you must believe it. You must understand it to be so. So first things first, to ensure that your marriage is not disposable, this is the idea: marry your friend. Preferably, marry someone you would consider to be your best friend, or at least one of your friends, one of your best friends. Let me put it that way. Marry somebody that you can build a strong friendship relationship with. Simple, to say. Some people will say that it's not easy to find a friend to marry. Is it that simple? Actually, many people find out fairly early in marriage that they married people that they were attracted to, not necessarily people that they were friends with. The important thing is that attraction is not enough. As a result of marrying somebody that you're attracted to, and it's only about attraction, what eventually happens is that you're focused on the sexual passion, and it cools off so fast when you get married. So people eventually find out that they didn't really have too many enjoyable things to do with their spouse outside of sex. So if you didn't marry your friend to begin with, then I strongly advise that you make your existing spouse your friend. So how do you know that your spouse is your best friend? I'll ask a few questions just to help you figure it out. All right, let's go. If you get a promotion today, who is the first person you would think of calling? Another question: when you suffer a loss or disappointment, whose comfort do you crave the most? Maybe I should ask another question, and this is very interesting. Who can't you wait to share that hilarious joke with? Or who is it that is incredibly difficult for you to keep a secret from? When you answer all these questions, you're trying to figure out whether your spouse is actually your best friend. Because if your spouse is not in the first three people that you consider calling, sharing a joke with, thinking of somebody to comfort you in a very difficult situation, and your spouse is not one of the first three, then your spouse is not truly your friend. And you need to come to terms with that. So if you just discover your spouse isn't your best friend, please know that this episode isn't about making you feel bad or inadequate or making you feel like maybe I married the wrong person or this marriage is not going to work. It's about sharing how, with God's help, you can make your spouse your best friend, because that's the way it should be. All right. So many couples assume that marriage will automatically build friendship, and this is false. Nothing can be further from the truth. Friendship in marriage is never automatic. It requires intentionality. You need to accept responsibility for building friendship in your marriage. So love and friendship are choices that we make. They don't just happen. They require deliberate effort by both parties. And it's not a one-man thing. It's not just for one person. Both of us need to make the decision that we're going to be deliberate about how we focus on building love and friendship. And friendship trumps passion in marriage. Passion can fade off easily. Things happen. Situations and circumstances of life will drain passion, but situations and circumstances of life actually strengthens friendship when friendship is in existence. When you get hit by something very strongly, a child is sick, pregnancy becomes a troubling experience. It's an opportunity for friendship to get stronger, because that's when we hold hands and pray together. That's when we make the decision together. That's when we set goals together and say, we're going for this. And as we're achieving those things, friendship is forged and strengthened. So the things that pull other marriages apart then tend to bind you together more and strengthen your friendship. If you do not invest in the process of building a strong friendship, chances are that your relationship will go sour very quickly. So who really is a friend? A friend is someone you trust, talk to, share lives, experiences, and interests with, hang out, and are honest and vulnerable with. Unfortunately, very few couples were genuinely good friends prior to marriage. Though courtship should be focused on building friendships, and so you get into marriage and it's all about physical attraction and all that, and there's a tendency to over-focus on passion. And when passion starts to wane and pressures of life drain passion from your marriage, and you're not fixated on physical attraction again, what then starts to happen is that you start to see gaps. And those gaps are due to lack of communication, because we're not really friends, we're not really sharing life together, and things like that. And it's at this point that you have to take responsibility for building a strong foundation for friendship in your marriage. So I'd like to offer you some tips on how to build friendship in your marriage. Build friendship with the one that you have chosen to love. Okay, let's start out. The first thing I want to talk about is build trust through accountability and vulnerability. For example, never be away from your home without your spouse knowing your whereabouts. It's important to build trust in your marriage. Friends trust each other. Friends can predict each other. You see people say, so-and-so person is my friend. He won't do that, or she won't do that. She won't say that. I know my friend. It's trust that has been built over a period of time based on knowledge. And when you want to build trust in marriage, you have to be willing to give unsolicited information. So just being vulnerable. I can say anything to my spouse because we're building friendship and I want to really be vulnerable. Some men hate it when their wives call to ask, where are you? So guys, it's better to preempt that than to become agitated because your wife is always asking. Why don't you volunteer the information? Ladies, it's the same thing. Volunteer the information beforehand. Be each other's sounding board. Tell your spouse things that you can't tell anybody else. Get their impression, their perspective about issues of life rather than sharing those things with outsiders. Because what most people do is that you get a colleague at work, an old friend, that when things are troubling your mind, you find it easier to share with them than share with your spouse. You're strengthening your relationship or your friendship with the outsider to the detriment of your friendship with your spouse. So not sharing important decisions or challenges with your spouse says that you don't value his or her input. And you can't be building friendship with someone whose input, whose perspectives to life you don't value. So it says you don't trust him with the things that are closest to your heart when you don't talk to your spouse. That's what it means. You don't really trust them with the things that, and you don't have to say it. They can read in between the lines. When I discover that my spouse is telling a friend something that I don't know about, what should I make out of that? But she doesn't trust me. I mean, she can't be vulnerable with me, and it affects how we build friendship. So the next thing is talk to your spouse, even about mundane aspects of your day. That's what friends do. Friends share things, simple things, and then we build on it into more serious matters of life and destiny. So friends talk about everything. Ditch, your business excuse and talk to your spouse. Don't make busyness stand in the way of building friendship. Don't let it ruin friendship in your marriage or the fun in your marriage. Thanks to technology, there's no excuse for not keeping in touch. WhatsApp, text message, voice note, all kinds of things today that can help you to keep chatting with your spouse. And you follow each other on social media, comment on your spouse's post. Be the first to do that, especially if you find it early. And just make fun and have fun. Hang out with your spouse is another thing. Go to the cinema, to the beach, or other fun places with your spouse. Make sure that you are deliberately getting fond of each other. And that won't jump on you. You have to practice it. You have to think through it. How can I, rediscover fun with my spouse? Crave closeness. Don't be a free radical. Don't be content with being alone for too long. Always think, where's my spouse now? And what can we do together? Because that's what friends do. Don't always insist on needing your personal space. I understand that sometimes you have a need for me time, but me time should not be too consistent. It's not all the time. Once in a while you have me time, and you can talk about it, and your spouse can give you some space. But focus the bulk of your time on building companionship, building friendship in your marriage. Discover each other's peculiar areas of interest. That's another nice thing. What is my spouse interested in, and how can I show a bit of interest in that area also? Even if originally I'm not interested in it, I can still show some interest. So let me give a good example. Some ladies complain that their husband loves football too much, and you don't want to watch this maybe English Premiership or La Liga with your spouse. Sit with your spouse and enjoy it, even if just 15 minutes. Before you know it, you know the name of his favorite player. You know the scores from the match. Your spouse can easily discuss a bit of soccer with you, and then some bond is building. But when we don't have anything in common, it's pulling us apart, because friends have located what they have in common, and they talk about it. They build friendship around such things. So why not agree on some things that will bind you together, some things that you are interested in? If your spouse is interested in real estate and you're also interested in real estate, you can buy real estate magazines, look through together, have fun, just checking out a new property around town. Before you know it, you have a common ground that you can build your life around. So don't disdain or demean your spouse's interest. Be an encourager. Be your spouse's number one cheerleader in the areas of their interest. Invest time in creating lovely and positive memories. When, for two people to have things to discuss, they must have common memories. And when you don't spend time together, you don't have common memories. I can still look back to holidays that my wife had in time past and things that happened, outings with our kids and what one of our daughters said that we can still laugh about today. And with that, we have great memories around which we can always talk. So plan to get away without the kids, where you can enjoy each other emotionally, spiritually, physically, and bond a lot more. Also, do everything within your power to get along with your in-laws. Your spouse will love you for your genuine effort at getting along with your in-laws. In-laws are important because we spend the earlier years of our lives with our in-laws. So if you don't get along with my parents or my siblings, and it's the easiest thing for you to cut them off, it's difficult for you to build a strong relationship with me. So you need to reconsider that, be observant, have this knack for always looking out for what will interest your spouse. Have you ever wondered what your spouse friends see in him or her that make them gravitate towards your spouse? Why don't you look for such things too? Maybe your spouse can be hilarious. Maybe your spouse is caring. Play it up and look out for that and get a stronger connection with your spouse. Don't be told about your spouse's generosity, sense of humor, or organizational skills. Look out for it yourself and celebrate it and get attracted to it, and observe and discover the gem that you have married. Finally, I have a challenge for you. Call your spouse your best friend. Just say it, because when you say something too often, it gets into your subconscious mind, and just your mind starts to accept it. So the more you say it, the more your mind accepts it. So take a look at your spouse. Look at your spouse in the eye and say, honey, on this side of heaven, you are the first and the best in my life. And act like it. Your heart will soon follow your action. Your heart will soon follow your action. So do it. Practice it, and I'm sure you will have a testimony of goodness and strong friendship returning into your marriage. I hope this has been helpful. Please remember to share this with your friends, share the podcast with your friends, and also hit the subscribe button. Until the next episode, may your marriage and relationships be sweet.